So this is probably one of the most colour accurate projectors I have seen. In fact, for home entertainment, movies and even gaming, this is one of the best I've tried. And ultimately, I'm convinced it would blow you away too. This is the BenQ W1800i. This is a 4K HDR projector running Android TV. It is pre-calibrated, giving some of the nicest pictures I've seen on a projector. And as a bonus, it has one of the fastest input lags for gaming. But before I go any further, this is an open letter to BenQ. An open letter to BenQ. BenQ, what is going on with your product naming? The W1800i, that's a terrible name. And it's the same with all of your stuff. Just letters and numbers randomly everywhere. What are you doing? I don't make sense when you're typing it in because it pulls up the right thing, but it just confuses everyone. And it's the most uncatchy thing. Oh yeah, I've got a projector and it's the B694 6246. No one wants that. You need to pick something cool and memorable. Like XGME do the Aura or the Horizon. Those are great names. I mean, you could just throw some things together. This is the BenQ Electric Boogaloo. Anyway, let's get this thing set up. So in the box, we have the manuals, all the paperwork, we have a charging cable, and this little dongle here, which we'll get onto later. We also obviously have the projector and the projector's remote. Now, when setting this up, we need to stick in this streaming dongle, which is basically just an Android TV stick. That goes in this section here, which then screws shut. What I don't get is, why? So many projector developers use this method for making their projectors smart projectors. I just don't get the thought process. So I mentioned them before, XGME, they have it built into the system. I just don't see why BenQ haven't done the same. I mean, you could argue it makes it easier for updates and stuff, but I don't really see it. But then I guess what you could do is you could use that Android TV stick in other devices too, so you can just have one operating system for all your displays, but that'll be a pain in the arse, especially the fact you have to screw it shut. Okay, so looking at the ports on the back, we have two HDMI 2.0 ports, a VGA port, an audio jack, and a USB port, and it's a really good USB port. Now at the top of the projector we do have manual focus and zoom dials. It is a shame that we don't get a decent autofocus on this, but these are quite easy to use. We then also have all of our main controls on the top of the projector as well, which means it is easy to use without the remote. The projector has 3 legs for you to get the perfect angle depending on what surface it's sat on. You can also hang it upside down as well. Now once you've got your streaming dongle in, you can fire up the projector. It then throws us in so we can set up all of the Android TV stuff and all the keystoning and stuff like that. So we do boot up in Android TV. That is obviously if we've connected that streaming dongle. This then gives us access to all of the things we love, like Disney Plus and Hulu and all that stuff, but we still do get 2 HDMI ports on the back for plugging in whatever we want to. So you can have your Xbox, Fire TV, Apple TV, insert different operating system here if you don't like the Android TV. Now we do have 2 forms of menus and settings. You have all of the settings for Android TV that is built into that dongle, and then a separate menu built into the projector for itself for all of those projector settings. What's good is that these are accessible even if you don't use the streaming dongle, so you don't have to go back to Android TV in order to start playing with the settings. Now, as much as we have manual zoom, we do have digital keystoning on both axes. And what we can also do is rotate the screen, so we can pretty much put this anywhere to a reasonable degree and get a straight image on the screen. Once we've done that, we can now use the zoom and the focus dials to sort of get everything right and sharpen it all up. So we're up and running. Now what? Now we're going to need to control this thing, and as good as the buttons are on the top, that's a bit of a pain, so we do have the remote. Now it is a fairly simple design with a few extra buttons to sort of get us where we need to go and also to get to those projector settings quite easily. We also get our Google Voice Assistant on the remote with a microphone, so we can use that in order to navigate the Android TV a bit easier as well. All in all, the remote is very good. It is plastic, but it does feel okay, and because it's simple, it is quite easy easy to use. What would be nice is to have some of the buttons backlit maybe, just because this is a projector and we're going to be using it in dark rooms most of the time. It would be nice to have that extra feature that you see on some, but actually that is quite rare, but I'd like to see it. Now, one problem with this projector, and funnily enough, this is a problem with most smart projectors, is that it doesn't support Netflix. I know, another one. You can't use Netflix on the Android TV. Why? I don't really know, and I don't think anyone has an actual proper grasp of why. Something to do with licensing and Netflix being difficult, maybe. But that's not going to stop me, and what you can do is you can access Netflix through any other external device on this, which is what I do. So Apple TV, console, Fire Stick, insert other, and I've just stuck an Amazon Fire Stick in the back. Naughty me. This means I can actually bypass Android TV if I don't like the operating system, and it means I can do things like access Netflix. And obviously you can do this with any device. You could do this with an Apple TV, or you could do this with your cable box or a console. The beauty of this is that you can access Netflix without any hassle at all. And also a side note, and a nice addition, is the USB port on the back. Now, the reason I'm so excited about this USB port is that it is a port
with power.
Now, if like me you have an Amazon Fire Stick, you'll understand the frustration that you need to plug this into a USB socket, but the sockets on the back of most TVs aren't powerful enough. Most USB ports on the back of TVs are either 500 milliamps or 900 milliamps. Occasionally you might get 1 amp or 1000 milliamps. Now on this projector, that USB port is 1.5 amps, which means it's more than powerful enough to be able to run devices like a Fire Stick. So if you plug that into the back, you can just use a small USB cable to plug the power in that way. So much easier. Okay, so now enough of all the technical crap. What's it like? Well, we're going to judge it on a few things, but firstly, the picture, the brightness, and the sound. Firstly, the sound. Projectors aren't well renowned for having fantastic sound, minus a few exceptions. But where does this fit in? It's okay. Now, it isn't good sound. Like, if you wanted to have one of the best sound experiences, you're going to need to use something separate to this. Linking it up to a separate sound system is going to give you the best sound that you can get. That being said, this doesn't actually have a HDMI ARC port or an optical audio port, which does bode an issue. So if you're going to be using this as your home cinema projector, which it still can do very, very well, you're going to have to be plugging it in to an amp-based surround sound system. Now, as much as the sound isn't good, it's not bad. It's not like listening through a tin can. It's a fairly decent sound in terms of projectors. All of the sounds and noises and voices are fairly clear. It's just lacking any sort of depth. And the volume's alright too. It's not going to blow you away, but you're not going to struggle to hear it. Now, the brightness. This projector gives us 2000 ANSI lumens of brightness, which is very, very good. It's certainly not the best available, but it's far better than the worst. It is plenty enough to burn through your retinas. Obviously, a dark room is best, but the projector is watchable during the day. It would definitely struggle outside in the day, but in this room here, you can see it works very well. Now, we can get onto the real highs of this projector. That is the picture and the colours. Look, we have a really impressive bit of kit here. It is a 4K HDR10 compatible projector, and it receives colour accuracy of 100% at Rec 709. Which is very, very good. And obviously at home, because you have a different display, you won't be able to see this. But to my eye, it is phenomenal. It is going to look amazing in movies with true to life colours, just like the director of the film wanted you to see. This is a really impressive picture. I was absolutely massively impressed with how accurate it was. The colours aren't oversaturated and they're not washed out. They're just spot on. Obviously, a lot of that is down to the fact that this projector arrives pre-calibrated, so someone has gone to the effort of making sure that everything is mwah before it turns up at your door, which, I'll be honest, I don't know why they didn't do that with all displays. Now, one of the other benefits of this is something called fast mode. What is fast mode? Well, it's not where it just plays everything back really fast. It's for improving the experience during gaming. Now, for some people, gaming on a projector is a no-go, and they just won't do it. And there are some good reasons for that in most cases, but this projector might actually change your mind. The main reason people won't do it is because of something called input lag, and the fact that projectors usually have quite a poor input lag. What is input lag? Well, input lag is the delay between a display receiving information and then being able to process it and then put it out. The reason this is important for gaming is that if you have a really bad input lag, when you're moving around on your remote, there will be a noticeable delay between you doing something and the response that happens on the screen. Now, usually it's only a little bit, but especially if you've been quite competitive, that can make all the difference. Now, the problem with projectors is that most projectors have very bad input lag. And ultimately, if you're planning on playing games, especially competitive games, there's just no point in trying on a projector. But this projector might change your mind. Now, normally I would compare this to some of the bad projectors and say, oh, look how good this is. But actually, what I'm going to compare this to is one of the best gaming TVs that is available at the moment, and that is the LG C1 OLED. Now, the LG C1 OLED has phenomenal input lag and response time, and it is massively recommended by so many gamers. So if this can compare to that, well, surely this is going to be fantastic too. Now, the LG C1 has an input lag as low as about 5 milliseconds when playing games at 120 Hz. The BenQ W1800i, or the Electric Boogaloo, that has an input lag of about 8 milliseconds at 120 Hz, displaying 1080p. Now, at 240 Hz, that can go as low as 4 milliseconds. So this projector is massively impressive, especially considering that some of the other projectors are 30 milliseconds, 50, 80. So what is my verdict? What are my thoughts? This projector is a fantastic all-rounder with a couple of key highlights. One being the colour accuracy and the second being gaming. Now, this can just be sort of plugged in and used where and when, because it's got okay speakers and it's got the dongle in it, so you can sort of do everything you need to do with that. But if you want to get the most of this projector, I would recommend probably plugging in something different, like your cable box. I used a Fire TV stick, just so you can have that easy access for Netflix. And then I would recommend hooking it up to a sound system to get the most out of the audio. Now, you can't do that with HDMI out because it doesn't have it, so you would need a dedicated amp based surround system in order to do that. So guys, what are your thoughts? Stick them in the comments below. Click this video here to see a review I've done on another interesting projector, and click this button here to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Whoop!